Well, the trip started out in White Salmon, Washington. It's where kind of our headquarters for North America is. And I brought kite gear, we had some windsurfing stuff, but the main trip was stand-up. I had Michi Schweiger and Dave Kalama, and we just wanted to go and see what kind of cold water waves we could find mostly. And we took our 40-foot motorhome board box. It's basically a toy hauler, so we can put 12-footers in the back, windsurfing gear, kite gear, whatever. And we head for the coast, and the idea was just head straight out to the Washington State coast and then turn right and see what we could find. And we went all the way up to Canada and across to Tofino, which is in the middle of Vancouver Island. So basically in a week we drove 2,600 miles.
We left with no real agenda. There was no particular map that we were following. It was really, in the old sense of the word, an adventure. We left Hood River knowing that we were going to Tofino, Canada, and anything in between was just up to serendipity. And we just kind of went with the flow, and we stumbled into surf spots, and we met cool people that pointed us in the right direction. So I would highly recommend that kind of a surf trip for everybody at some point in your surf career.
And it wasn't like a particular trip for windsurfing or stand-up or kiting, but we would just do whatever the conditions gave us. We would paddle around in flat water, we would paddle around on lakes, rivers, or in surf if we found it.
It's pretty awesome. There's good waves up there, a lot of good paddling. And it was interesting having 4 guys in the motorhome, but it was cool. We stayed out of each other's hair.
Gorge was interesting too, because over there, we did a bunch of downwinders, which are really slow because you're going against the current. You're getting glides, but you're not really moving that far forward. But to me, the more interesting part was, there's all those side arms in the river, and you paddle up those rivers, and it's beautiful. There's a lot of whitewater rafting up there, and part of it you can also do with the stand-up board. But it's just a nice nature experience, You get a workout and you are able to explore nature that you don't see otherwise.
The cool thing about the Washington coast is there's so few people up there. I mean, it goes forever and ever and ever. We're looking at our GPS and our maps and going, okay, well, let's just check that spot out. 3 hours later, we're still trying to get to that spot. I mean, it's huge. There's so much space. The only bummer is that the road doesn't really come down and connect with the coast in that many places. So you're kind of limited to water access. We're looking at it going, man, if we had a helicopter or a seaplane or a boat or something, there must be a million waves between here and that next spot that we're going to. It just makes you wonder how many good spots there are on all that coastline where there's no access.
And going with the RV, you can stop anywhere, you can check everything out. You rip the boards out of the back garage and just paddle around in random spots, and you keep looking at the map and try to find surf spots. So it was really exciting.
And then went straight out to the coast and found a bunch of really good waves, especially a place called La Push on the Washington coast. It was unreal. It was like something out of a novel. This little bay with perfect little waves on both sides. The water was kind of mid-50s. Most of the guys surfing were wearing 5 mil with gloves and booties and hats, and we were out with 2.2 and no booties, because on a stand-up you're not really getting that wet. So that was pretty cool. Well, once we got to Tofino, Canada, which is the full-on surf town on Vancouver Island, Canada, there was supposed to be a real good swell coming. It didn't really come. We got like head high, and then some really good fun point left break that was you know, anywhere from waist high to chest high. Still good fun. Unbelievable conditions, dead flat water. And then some of the local guys took us around the corner inland up into the waterways to go look for bears, basically. And we were stand-up paddling right up to wild black bears, which was a trip.
And he's like, oh yeah, show you guys around with the bears. And we took our stand-up boards. And when we saw the bears, we started paddling around. And after a while, we realized that they don't really care. And the water drops in really deep immediately, so you can kind of paddle really close to shore. They look at you a little bit and then keep turning rocks over. And out of the distance, you know, they look like maybe like a bigger dog, but when you get closer, you realize that those guys are actually fairly big. And when you see them play around on the beach, they turn over rocks that are maybe 70 pounds. Just with one paw, they go like bam and roll it over, and there's a crab and they crunch it like chips.
And just the nature and being that close to an animal that is so powerful yet so uninterested in what we were doing by paddling around was quite an experience. I've never done anything like that before. So I'd say the highlight was paddling with the bears. Traveling with Robby is a lot of fun. It's kind of like traveling with your uncle. You know, you got to kind of behave a little bit, but he's actually, when you hang out with him a little bit, you realize he's just as goofy and wants to have just as much fun as you do. So it's actually a lot of fun traveling with him and getting on the water. He's a great waterman, great surfer. So it was fun. We pushed each other, we explored.
Traveling with Robby, he's an amazing driver, you know, like all credit to that, because driving that huge RV is a mission. Because a lot of the places you know, I'm like, hey, let's go there, that looks good on the map. But with such a big car, you never know how you get out of there again, because you can't tell how big the street is gonna end up. You know, the mixture between Robby and Kalama and me is, that's hilarious to begin with, because Dave always wants to do something. You know, if he isn't paddling around, he wants to basically sleep or eat.